It finally happened after many days. Andrej Stojakovic has committed to Illinois. Finally, I mean, we all kind of knew it was happening, and I think there was some anxiety along the way based off past experiences, the Dame Sar stuff. Everyone thought he was a lock, and then that kind of fell through. And then you can go down the long laundry list of guys Illinois has been in on over the years and then didn't end up getting. But that is not the case with Andrej Stojakovic. It's kind of old news. News dropped yesterday. Finally had a chance to sit down and talk about it. Been inactive on the YouTube channel here over the last week and a half with baseball season in full force. And let's just be honest, Illini news has been pretty quiet unless you're really following the message boards and stuff every single day. And I'll just be honest with you guys. I don't have the time to do that with my full-time job. So I'm here to talk about this now. So hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here. If you're an Illini fan, this is an Illini account for me. So let's get into it. The reaction overall, again, like I just said, finally, I'm just happy it happened. Glad that we weren't led astray, bamboozled, right? I just think this is the big move. This is the big move Illinois had to make. And making the move for Mihailo Petrovic and adding David Mirkovich earlier before that, on top of, it looks like you got the twin towers in the Ivasic brothers. You got Kylan Boswell coming back, Jake Davis coming off the bench, Ty Rogers coming off the bench. It looks like, based off Instagram at least, who knows, Benham Rickhouse could be coming back. He posted on Instagram as soon as the Stoyakovich news showed up, and he was in Illini shorts. He looked like he was at their practice facility working on his game in the lab, right? I'm assuming he's going to be back, right? It looks like things are kind of coming together here. I don't think that we're going to be sitting in July wondering if the roster is finished yet. I think they need one or two more guys. Maybe I think you got to figure out a way to replace Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, but you replaced Kasparis Jakashonis / Will Riley most likely in terms of scoring, a go-to guy, best player on the team, a bona fide stud, a bona fide star caliber player who probably will go to the NBA one day. And that was what you're missing when you lose Will Riley and Kasparis Jakashonis. You had to go find someone, and it's going to be Baby Peja. And I'm sure I'm not the only one to say this, but this makes me feel super old. I used to play like NBA Live 2005 back in the day. I think that was the first NBA or EA Sports game that came out that had the All-Star Game festivities on it, like the dunk contest and the three-point shootout and the skills challenge. And I remember playing with Peja Stojakovic on that game a lot because I loved the way he shoot the ball. And he was one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA at the time. And so to now sit here and be talking about his son playing at Illinois, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to think about and realize, and it's very fun. And above all, it just makes me feel very old. But I'm sure I'm not the only one, right? So if you don't really know a ton about him, which I would be surprised if you didn't at this point, 24/7 Sports ranked him as the number 35 player in the transfer portal this year. He had interest, obviously, from North Carolina and Stanford the most, but here on Illini Inquirer, they mentioned USC, Kentucky, Florida, Clemson, LSU, Cincinnati, and UConn also had interest. But I think it really came down to Stanford, UNC, and Illinois. And I know there was some, over the weekend, there was some anxiety following the famous dinner that Brad Underwood and probably the coaching staff had with Stoyakovich and his family. And then you didn't hear anything. And then, of course, on Monday, early afternoon, early morning, on Monday, he announces that he's coming to Illinois. And Brad Underwood absolutely embracing this whole Euro team with changing his Twitter profile picture. And I know Terrence Shannon Jr. did it a few days ago when Petrovic announced that he was coming to Illinois. So we got a Euro team, guys, and I'm embracing it, man. And you can make arguments. Oh, they're not getting any guys from Chicago. Well, that's not true because they've brought guys in from Chicago before, and then they leave. Adam Miller, Merez Johnson Jr., right? And they've had guys who've come from Chicago and had success. Terrence Shannon Jr., Ayo Dosunmu. So that narrative, I saw someone on I think it was an account related to Missouri Valley, a Missouri Valley conference account. I don't know if it had a blue check mark, but on Twitter, anyone can have a blue check mark now. So I didn't take the time to really look at the account, but there's something last week. Someone was trying to start that narrative, and they were like a Missouri Valley conference like account, and they like trying to push this whole narrative about how Illinois doesn't want to play any of their teams, and how Illinois is not, they can't recruit in the state anymore. And that's just simply not true. It's simply not true. Sounds like the person hasn't paid attention to Illinois since Marcus Domass decided to leave Southern Illinois and come to Illinois, right? So anyway, I think it's very, very, very interesting. I love Illini Twitter making the jokes about how we're the Illinoviches. What is it? Bradislav Underwich, something like that. Like, we're just full send embracing the 2025-2026 Euro Illinois Fighting Illini. That's basically what it is. And I'm here for it. And you know what? They're going to be an older team next year. And we all sat here and talked about how last year's team had a ceiling and it just never got there. It really never did get there. And it was frustrating because you watched Will Riley develop as the season went along, and you watched Kasparis be awesome at the beginning of the year in non-conference and then just slowly trend down as the season went along. And you just sit here and you wonder, what if those two had, came together at the same time, had rose at the same time. But that team was so young. They were one of the youngest teams in college basketball. They had no consistency. You never knew what you're going to get out of them. They were Jekyll and Hyde. This team for 2025, 2026, there's at least going to be more continuity on it because you got some guys returning and there are more older dudes. I mean, Petrovic coming over. I mean, I don't even know what he's going to be considered. A junior, maybe? A sophomore? He's 22 years old. It's crazy that he can even be allowed to come over and play, right? But Stoyakovich, he'll be entering, I believe, his junior season. And, he's obviously spent he spent his first year at, what did he go to Stanford first and then to Cal? So he's played at both schools, and now he's coming all the way across country to play at Illinois. So, yeah, I think the potential starting lineup right now is Petrovic, Boswell, Stoyakovich, Merkovic, and Tommy. That's my projected starting lineup. That's what I'm going to guess is going to be the starting lineup. And I think there's a good mixture of veterans in terms of guys who have played college hoops. So that's Tommy, that's Kylan, and Andre. And then you have Petrovic, who's going to be your point guard. He has never played in college hoops, but he's 22 years old. And I think that's different than being 18. And then Merkovic, he's 19, I believe is what he is. So, he'll be the youngest in the starting lineup, but I just think there will easily be more continuity on this team. And I think Illinois is setting themselves up to be another favorite to finish top 5 in the Big Ten, and we'll be flirting with a Sweet 16, maybe more. These are the expectations every year anyway, but there's no reason to think that it can't happen. I think we'll watch how things play out, and we can easily sit here in season and have our complaints, and, they'll probably have a bad loss here against some school that, they probably shouldn't, and they'll probably have some huge wins and this and that, but you can't sit here and tell me that this team isn't top 5 in the Big Ten material next year, especially with some of these guys returning. I'm really excited about what Kylan can be in year 2. I'm really excited about what Henriquez can be in year 2 in a lessened role. And I just think Stoyakovich has, the sky's the limit for him coming to this team to be the number 1 guy, scoring option at least. So I just think that Brad Underwood, all things considered, with how the offseason kind of started, where everyone kind of left, either, you were Will Riley or Kasparis, and you were transferring, or not transferring, but going to the draft. And then you got Merez Johnson, that whole saga of him leaving and the storylines that came with it. And not only leaving, but leaving and staying in conference and going to Michigan. You got Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn transferring out, which is probably the right decision for him, right? And, it was a slow start to the offseason, right? but they slowly have started to build this team back. You got the Ivasic brothers. I think there's a high ceiling for Merkovich in his first year here at Illinois, based off some of the highlights I've seen and how Brad wants to play. I think Kylan has all the reason in the world to be, one of the best guards in the Big Ten next season. So I know it's not even May 1st, but I'm getting excited about November, man. I am. And this is all I truly ask for as an Illini fan. This is all I truly ask for on a year in and out basis when it comes to Illini hoops. Yes, of course, I would love to expect national title or bust, or have national title or bust expectations, but that's just not the case here at Illinois. Brad can say everything he wants about how he wants national championships and this and that, and that's what I want the coach to say. But as a fan, I want to be relevant. I want to have a chance to win the Big Ten every year, and I want to get past the first weekend in the NCAA tournament. I think those are three reasonable, fair expectations for Illini fans going into 2025, 2026, and those are reasonable expectations on a year in, year out basis for this program. But I will say that Sweet 16 kind of feels like the bare minimum. This team could be better. This team could be an Elite Eight, maybe flirt with that Final Four. And I know we all sat here like dumb fans last year and said, oh, if this team reaches its ceiling, it has Final Four potential. But you got guys returning. You're going to have more continuity. You got an older roster. And all we have to do, all the coaching staff and these players have to do is go out and prove it. They aren't the only team that's going to feel like that. So it will not be easy. It will not be some easy, straight up ascendance. It will not. But as we sit here on April 29th, we can at least dream about it. You're not going to stop me from at least dreaming about it, okay? So those are my overall thoughts about Andrej Stojakovic and what he can bring to this Illini team and my expectations for this team going into 2025, 2026. So Brad said in a statement about him that he's a veteran, proven scorer who does it in all three facets: catch and shoot, off the dribble, and post-ups. He has great size on the perimeter, ball handling skills, playmaking abilities, quickness on the defensive end, and knack for blocking shots. Andrej is a very important addition for us because of his experience, high basketball IQ, and productivity. He has had very good coaching and shows a tremendous understanding for how to play the game on both ends of the court. Now, I will admit, I didn't watch a lot of Cal last year. I didn't watch any Cal until the ACC tournament last year, and I just happened to turn the TV to ESPN, and Cal was playing. I don't remember who they were playing, but it made me feel old because I saw Stoyakovich on one end, and on the other team, I thought there was another guy who his dad used to play in the NBA too. I can't remember the team, but it was one of those like, man, I am old type feelings. But I remember watching that game. Cal ended up losing that game, but Stoyakovich was the prime, the prime talent on Cal. It was very obvious to see. And he had a great game. And so you could, what Brad is saying in terms of what he can do, catch and shoot, off the dribble and post-ups, he's not wrong. All the highlights I've seen, that's what he's done. And I think that's huge. And I think I'm really interested to see what he can do in post-ups in the Big Ten, because I'm not thinking, when I'm thinking about best player, I think a lot of fans might jump to, oh, can he even flirt with what Terrence Shannon did? I'm not asking for that. I'm curious about, can he be kind of like what Marcus Domask was in a way? Even though Marcus Domask was kind of the Robin to that team 2 years ago, I just don't think Stoyakovich is as athletic as Terrence Shannon. I could be wrong on that, and y'all can let me know. But they also didn't run any sets for Terrence Shannon Jr. at Illinois. He was just one of those guys who got out in transition, uses athleticism, dunked on people, got to the foul line. That's how he got his points. I feel like they are going to be putting Andrej Stojakovic in. They're going to be running sets through him. That is my expectation. So they're either going to run it through him or they're going to run it through Tommy, and maybe he, that's how he gets his points going as well. So I just think that this offense has so much potential to be really fun to watch. I think the question is will they be able to defend? And I think that's one of those things that we're just gonna worry and wonder about all summer, going into the fall and through the winter. All right. Um, so last year, he averaged 17.9 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 1.2 blocks, and 0.8 steals, while shooting 42% from the field, 42.7% from the field, and 31.8% from three, 81% from the free throw line. I will say the 3-point shooting hasn't been as good as I would expect for someone with the last name Stoyakovich, but he's also going to be playing in a new offense this year that should benefit because we know Brad and Tyler want to get up and down. They want to shoot a lot of threes because they play with the analytics. And so I'm interested to see if that goes up or if it goes down. And I know there was that whole thing on Illini Twitter last year about how everyone who comes to Illinois just forgets how to shoot a three. I know Kylan Boswell took a huge step back 3-point shooting last year. I'm expecting a boost forward in 2025, 2026 for him. But I think he's going to have every chance in the world to increase that shooting percentage from 3-point range this year. So I'm excited to see where that lands as we get into Big Ten season next year. All right. This is from Jeremy Werner from Illini Inquirer. Stoyakovich likely to be the Illini's biggest splash in the transfer portal this offseason, giving them a big wing with proven high major scoring pedigree and a potential NBA future. Stoyakovich should be one of the Illini's best players and give the Illini a proven veteran trio of scorers with him, Kylan Boswell, and Tomislav Ivicic. Stoyakovich has an NBA ceiling, and the Illini locked in on him as their go-to transfer target of the offseason and landed him before the calendar flipped to May. Whether financially realistic or not, Illinois could ideally add another 3-and-D presence in the backcourt, but this roster could be complete after additions of Stoyakovich and Mihailo Petrovic during the last week. And the Illini are shaping up to have a chance to contend again in the Big Ten, given its experience, size, and skill. All right. Yeah, so how does he fit? I mean, I kind of been talking about it a little bit, but I just think that with his big body, he can do some post ups, and I do think that perhaps there's a world where the offense is kind of being ran through him, and I am also curious about his playmaking ability. Like, does he need pick you do pick and rolls, can he break guys off the dribble, right? And the Jeremy Werner says he can really in how he fits in this article on Illini Inquirer. He says he can really create by himself off the bounce and in isolation, get to the rim and get to the free throw line frequently, which the Illini sorely need. So to answer that question, according to Jeremy Werner, at least, that is true. And that is something that Illinois really missed last year because Kasparis was doing step back threes, and Will Riley was probably their best, off the bounce, go get a bucket, get to the basket, hit the mid range jumper, get hot from three type scorer. He was definitely the best scorer on the team last year. But yeah, I mean, I feel like if it wasn't Will Riley in Big Ten play or later, it was kind of like you needed Tommy to go off. You needed Kylan to step up at some point in the game, right? Like they would go through stretches where offense looked really, really bad. And just can't have that next season. They need to have more consistent shooting, and they need to find a way to hit some outside shots that can open up those driving lanes and all that. So I'm looking forward to seeing the videos that Illinois puts out of him at the practice facility with the rest of the team this summer. And yeah, man, I just think this overall is a great get for Illinois. And considering everything that's happened over the offseason, to bring in a guy of this caliber, one of the top 50 players in the transfer portal, and it's reset and retool every year with Brad Underwood. And I say this a lot. I never worry about the offseason and how things go. I know everyone freaked out about not getting Dame Sarr, and there's reasons for that, but this is a good get. And Brad Underwood, if he will find a way He will find a way. So expectations will once again be high in Champaign next year, and that's all I can ask for as a fan, because a lot of the teams that I do like outside of college basketball can't even do that. So I don't take this era for granted, and I enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this team plays. Before I get out of here, of course, I still think they need one more player to come off the bench. Your bench right now is Jake Davis, Ben Humrickhouse, Ty Rogers. You know, that they'll have some other dudes as well. But I feel like they need, like, just like what Jeremy Werner said in this article, like they could add another 3-and-D in the backcourt. And I know Adam Miller was a name. That's kind of died now. I don't know if it's still possible. You know, I know money is such a talked about thing. The market is crazy this offseason in college hoops. So we'll see. But I think the roster is kind of set, and I'm feeling pretty content. I still think Purdue's probably the better team in the conference based off what they've done and who they have returning. But we have all summer and fall to rank and talk about who's better and who's worse and this and that. So anyway, I just wanted to jump on here, give you 20 minutes of my time talking about this move. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens the rest of the offseason. And, you know, I'm very curious on how you all feel about this. So in the comments, let me know how you feel about this get, and where your expectations sit for Illini basketball heading into 2025, 2026. Right. I appreciate y'all's support. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here, subscribe. If you already subscribed, send this to some friend of yours and tell them to subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. ILL.